Hi, this is Veronique with the CogniDiet Lifestyle Show, and today I am very, very happy to welcome Francesca, who has been one of my first ladies who did the CogniDiet program online. And she will, I'm sure, inspire you. It's not just about weight loss, it's about getting healthier. So, Francesca, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm so honored to be here, and a little bit about me. I've moved to Houston. I moved from Houston to Princeton in 2016. I'm an East Coast girl originally, and I love being back here after living all over the United States. I am an aunt to 7 amazing nieces and nephews, and that's a passion of mine. Staying in touch with them. Time consuming.
But they keep you moving.
They do, and that's a wonderful thing. So family is a passion. And just getting to know my new community and volunteering in the community. I do a lot of work here, which is amazing.
I know you give a lot to the community because we are from Princeton, so we meet each other very often. And I know you're doing a great job for Dress for Success. In fact, thanks to you, I became a mentor. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing for Dress for Success.
Well, I recently joined the board, and it's an amazing organization. I started immediately in 2016 when I moved here volunteering, helping women with their resumes. It's not just about the suit at Dress for Success. It's so much more. It's empowering women and helping them get back into the workforce.
It's wonderful.
Events that derailed them. So
yeah,
it's an
good for
thing.
you. Go women, right?
Go women, yes.
Go women. And from a hobby perspective, are you a painter? Are you a tennis player? Do you like to hike? Do you meditate?
I do quite a bit of yoga, and there are some great, amazing yoga studios here. I also have a practice at home fairly regularly, including meditation. I am starting to learn to play golf with a girlfriend, so that is challenging. And I used to be a ballroom dancer, which really kept me going, and I love to dance.
Yeah, and dancing keeps you on your toes and also helps you lose weight.
Yes, it does.
Are you planning to go back to dancing, or you
I'm
prefer to go
try.
golfing?
No, I've gone to a couple of groups around here and just getting back into it. Not as active as I was when I was 20 or 30 years younger.
Yeah, but you're still very active.
Yes.
So we all know you're here because you lost weight and you have a story to share.
Yes.
Why did you want to lose weight?
Well, I've always had a bit of a trouble with weight. My whole family has, and it's always been a struggle. But when I turned 60 last year...
You don't look it.
Thank you.
No,
thank you.
nothing.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
To my mom, her beautiful skin. But when I turned 60, it came to a little bit of a crescendo. My doctor was making noises about putting me on blood pressure medication and pre-diabetes medication. And I said, no, let me try this on my own. I just want to be able to do this without medication if I can. So I started really realizing that I had to look for something that was going to help me. And the CogniDiet was right there when I needed it.
So how much have you lost?
Since January, I've lost 20 pounds as of now. I lost about 15 on the CogniDiet.
In 12 weeks?
In 12 weeks, and then continued with the rest of it. And
how do you feel with those 20 pounds gone?
I'm so much lighter. I feel like I did it, first of all, without medication, without a fad diet, and I'm proud of myself. And I also feel like I'm a role model for my family and for my younger nieces and nephews, so that they can see that you can be healthy well into your 60s and into your older age.
And you are a role model for many other women. You
Yeah.
are. So tell me a little bit about how did you find the CogniDiet, and why did you decide to go on the CogniDiet?
Well, when my doctor was threatening me with medication, and I said, no, I want to do it, she said, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. You need a program. And so I remembered you because I had met you at the New Jersey, the Women's Conference, and you had a booth there, and I signed up for
another
your
women's meeting.
Yes, networking. and I signed up for your newsletter, and I had been receiving it regularly, but I hadn't committed to do anything. I was just kind of watching.
You were not ready yet.
Yes.
We have to be ready, right?
Right. We do have to be ready, and it all has to. If you're ready, then what they say. When you're ready, the teacher appears. So. You were my teacher, and you appeared at the right time. I think your next newsletter rolled in right that week when I was thinking what I was going to do. And I saw you had an online program, and that really appealed to me because I didn't think that I could make the commitment for an in-person program.
We will talk about the online later, but I want to ask you, as far as eating and temptations are concerned, what are your challenges? Some people, it's the sweets, it's the alcohol, it's eating too much, it's the chips. What were your challenges?
Yeah, it was probably a multitude of a few of those things, but my main challenge is stress eating. So I stress and emotional eating. So when I am worried about a problem or something is going on in my life that's challenging, I will use food. It comes from my family. We all did it, and it's like an ingrained habit. It's that comfort thing that
wired
you go
in
to.
your brain.
Yes. So that was the thing that I had to get over, and also I found out that I wasn't eating the right combination of foods for my body. Everyone's different, but for me, and your program helped me see what I needed to do between the experiments and being able to calculate my own calorie intake.
Did you realize you were eating too much, or
Well,
did you not have the right amount of protein, carbs, fat, and so forth? You told me a story about proteins.
Yeah, I did not think I was eating too much, but I couldn't figure out why I couldn't lose weight. And in doing the food diary at first, it was very evident through your processes that I was not eating enough protein. I found out that for me, I needed to eat 60 grams of protein, and I was sometimes only eating half of that.
Wow.
And because of that, I was hungry, and I was eating the wrong things. I found out I was eating too much carbs. Maybe they were healthy carbs, fruits, things like that.
Carbs nonetheless.
But carbs nonetheless. And once I started eating the right amount of protein, and realizing that, okay, figure out what protein you need. Fish, some healthy cheeses, eggs, healthy chicken. Tofu. I started eating and cooking with tofu for the first time, and it really worked. Once I bumped
how did you feel when you started to eat the normal amount of protein?
I wasn't as hungry. I didn't
How were your cravings?
They were pretty much gone between eating the right amount of protein, and I've always struggled with water. So really committing to drinking enough water and realizing that sometimes when I thought I was hungry. I was really thirsty.
Yeah, your body gives the same, your brain gives the same signal if you're thirsty or hungry. So each time you feel like maybe you're hungry, always drink some water before. And the chances are in 80% of the case, the craving will go away. But I'm happy that you're mentioning the protein story, because this is a trend I've observed over the years with my clients, which are 99% female, is when we look at how much protein they eat, they are very often, especially when they get to the 50s, 60s, I don't know why, but they go on the lower side, they don't eat enough. And if you exercise a lot, you need to eat even more than 60 grams, but there are formulas for this. And the result of not eating enough protein is that first of all, you need protein for your muscles. It has a lot of roles, but also it helps you tame your cravings, especially sugar cravings, and it lowers your appetite. It's very full. And protein takes a long time to be digested as well. So good for you. I'm happy. This is something you learned. What else did you learn on the CogniDiet? You know what? We have some experiments, and everybody always asks me, what are those experiments? So in the book, right, at the end of each chapter, there are like a couple of experiments, and those experiments are meant to help you become more self-aware of what are your triggers, or you know, what are the things that you can learn to change. And by doing those experiments, you start to change. So tell me a little bit about some of our experiments.
The amazing experiment for me was the treats versus the triggers. To actually figure out for me what was a trigger that would keep me eating or start a craving that was multi-day versus a treat that gave me a little bit of satisfaction but didn't keep me going. And what I found for me is that certain fruits were a trigger for me because they had too high of a sugar content, and anything like a cupcake or a cookie or something like that. I love sfogliatelle, Italian sfogliatelle.
It's a sugar explosion.
It is. So I limit myself now to a little piece of dark chocolate because that I found is a treat. I can eat that and I don't have a craving. But the rest of the items I really have to almost eliminate, or save like for when I know that I'm going to be really active or something like that. So that was a great experiment.
And a lot of people don't know that, first of all, fruits are sugar, and very often I see people eliminating cookies and chips and pastries and so forth. But then they start to eat fruits because it's healthy. And it's full of antioxidants and vitamins and fiber, but they can have a very high level of sugar. And if not linked with the protein and fat, as you know, they are going to trigger for the craving. And fruits are almost 3 times the size that they were like 50 or 60 years ago. And they are always available. So now we eat too many fruits. So this is a great insight, Francesca.
It
there
is.
any other experiment? Because I know everybody has their aha moments. Which one?
Well, the experiments with the positive, amazing thoughts versus the sabotaging, awful thoughts was a really great one, because when you then become mindful.
Explain to the audience what is a positive versus a negative thought.
So the positive thought are things like positive affirmations, like I am a healthy person, I cook healthy, I eat healthy. I take amazing food into my body and it makes me healthier, versus a sabotaging awful thought, oh, I'm so stupid, why did I eat that again? Or I will never be able to cook healthy, or I will never be able to lose this weight.
And so you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everything that's in your head is going to drive your behaviors. So so you created your affirmations, which is something everybody has to do on the CogniDiet. So what were your affirmations?
My affirmation, every day I have an affirmation about everything that I want in life, an affirmation that I already have it. And the first thing I say is that I am healthy. And just saying I am healthy incorporates everything. It means that I'm eating healthy, I'm buying good foods, I'm eating foods. And when I go to the supermarket, I say to myself, I'm here to buy healthy foods. Food is to feed my body. It is not to feed my emotions. And so those are the types of things that I believe now and that I incorporate. And whenever a little sabotaging thought starts creeping in, I just take a deep breath and say, that's not me any longer.
Are you aware of your thought, which is one of the things I want to teach participants in the program, because very often we don't even know what's in our head. And for some, I've noticed that for some participants, it's really difficult to start to even have the courage to finally recognize or write down what are those sabotaging thoughts.
Yeah, it's something about releasing a part of who you are that it takes a lot of courage and willpower to finally realize that it's not, there's so much more. You say here, starts in your brain, weight loss starts in your brain, and it really does. You have to really understand why you eat and what your triggers are before you can realize that, okay, I need to eat to make my body healthy, not to satisfy an emotion or a craving or something like that. Once you realize that, sometimes you can deal with what those issues are a lot better.
Yeah, very often we eat the food to postpone a decision, to procrastinate, or to avoid facing difficult truths or situations about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to go back on some more of your aha moments or experiments. What about food portion or things like that? Because we
Food
don't
portion.
spend a lot of time in the program at counting calories. I advise it, but it's more about the quality and overall quantity of the food you eat. So any other experiments?
Yes, the food portion was a big thing. We talked about in one of the chapters about the size of your plate that you use.
Yes.
And so I have these beautiful plates from my grandmother that are a little smaller than the plates that are made these days.
They are, yes.
And so I started using those plates, which I love anyway. They're beautiful, but they are smaller. And so when I put my portion on my food, my dinner plate, it's smaller. And you also talk about eating slower and mindfully. And so by the time I finish that, it's a smaller plate. I've tricked myself, and I'm full, and I don't eat more. So
this
portion
means
sells.
your body did not need more
Right.
food.
Right.
Yeah, and it takes 20 minutes for the stomach to tell the brain, I'm full. And if you eat a huge portion, which some people do in 10 minutes, which is possible, by the time you're finished and you overate, your brain has not even registered that you ate too much. Very interestingly. Any other aha moment for you regarding cravings or things to do with what I call the food IQ, things that you did not know and you feel like you know now?
Carbohydrates, I didn't realize how eating too many grams of carbs at any one meal triggers the sugar level and the insulin level. And so I'm now much more mindful about eating the right amount of carbs. And I use an app. I use MyFitnessPal, but there are so many out there. And
I like Lose It as well.
Lose
Those
It?
are the two best ones.
Oh, great.
Yes.
And what I like about it is not that it tells you how many calories you ate, but it tells you the nutrition qualities, quantity of grams of carbs and protein and fats. And it shows you how many sugars, so you know immediately by middle of the day if you are using too quickly.
Yeah, it helps you. It helps you to adjust at the end of the day. Yeah. Now you lost 20 pounds, and I know we are both very happy about this. But you lost. Some people say, "Well, 20 pounds is a lot because you're rather petite." And it's since January. We are now in July, so it's in 6 months. It's admirable. But one of the principles of the CogniDiet is lose it slowly and keep it off, because the quicker you lose it. So sometimes I have clients who say they have heard this on TV, lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and they don't have the patience.
Yeah.
How did you manage this slow and steady flow? And after that, I will have something to share with the audience. But how did you manage that?
Well, it was one of the things that I love about your program is that you give people permission to lose it slowly, and you show them how to do it, and that it's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. It's a way that you can manage for the rest of your life to eat healthily, and so it was like giving me permission to do it the right way, and I've made so many changes in how I buy food, and how I cook my meals, how I start my day, making sure that I start with protein, and if I do eat carbs, that I always have a protein with it. Healthy fats. I was using avocado as a treat, and I now realize that it's a healthy fat that I can incorporate.
It's like a medication.
Yes, it is. So really understanding more, it means that I can continue this. And now I'm starting to incorporate a little more exercise.
We haven't broached exercise yet.
Yeah.
Because you said you took things in a stride. Yeah. So now you're walking.
Now I'm walking as part of a walking challenge. So doing 10,000 steps a day through August. And I know that that's going to help me a little more on the next part of the journey.
Good. Yeah. As we continue to lose weight, or as we have the goal to continue, it's going to slow down, right? And the reason is our bodies were engineered to keep the fat because we were engineered to sustain famine. There is no limit. So, and when people say to me, why do you want us to go slowly? And I say, well, I hear this all the time. I lost 20 pounds, I regained 25. I lost 25, I regained 30. And the reason, and this is my analogy, is in our brain, because everything starts there, there is a little man. It could be a little woman, but I prefer the little man analogy. And he's seated on a pile of golden nuggets. And those golden nuggets are your pounds of fat. And he feels very rich and very satisfied. But if you take away 20 nuggets very quickly, his pile is going down, is going into alert, and he says, Francesca, you stole 20 pounds of fat from me. This is not going to happen again. I'm going to replenish my coffers, but no, I'm going to get 25 nuggets. And this is what happens. Whereas, if like you're stealing 1 pound or 1.5 pound at a time, the pile is going down, but the little man doesn't realize it. And this is how you do it. You trick your brain, because otherwise your brain will say, I have to replenish my reserve. There are other issues in losing weight, you know, metabolic issues, hormonal issues, and so forth. But this is really one of the issues when we lose weight too quickly. So my focus is on helping women lose the weight for the long term.
Yes.
So the reason you're here, one of the reasons you're here today is because you did the program online. I've always done it face-to-face. We did the clinical trial face-to-face, and I started I decided I want to help more women. So now we have women in California, South Carolina, Georgia, Maryland, and so forth. I know you chose to do the online program because you did not have the time to commit to a once weekly, right? But tell us a little bit about this because it's working. But tell us a little bit about it.
It was a really positive experience. You know, the way that you've structured it so that it's online, but you are there. It's a live online at a specific time where you are there once a week. And you send the invitation out, and it's scheduled on my calendar, and I can join, and I know that I'm going to be there with you, and there are going to be other women on too. We're going to be able to share questions with each other, see each other's comments. However, it's the flexibility of knowing that if I don't make it that time, that scheduled time, that I can listen to it the next day, and I'm not going to lose anything. And also the flexibility of doing it wherever I am. I commute.
You do it on the train.
I do it on the train. I commute into New York a couple of times a week, and sometimes I couldn't get back in time to be in my home with my earphones on listening. So I would just put my earphones on the train, and my seatmate didn't know what I was doing, and I could answer some questions and answer your quiz right there, and have the flexibility of doing it. So it's very flexible, but yet it has the same aspect of being at an in-person meeting.
But you're also following the book.
Yeah.
Right? Each week you have to read the book, and then during the session, we cover some points in the chapter, or we veer a little bit depending on the mood. If it's the 4th of July weekend, we may have questions about how to deal with all the parties and so forth, right?
Avoiding the hot dogs.
Yes. Okay. But you succeeded on the online program, and you're not the only one. I wish I could interview my ladies in South Carolina or in California. Maybe this is going to happen one day. So you feel that this combination of the book and the one-on-one is enough, or is there anything that you feel should be added? Or because there is also a Facebook, a private Facebook, there is a messenger group, Instagram, I mean, everything. What
I think that there is enough support through all the options that are offered. You've covered all the bases. The weekly email, the book, online, and then after the online program is over, you have the messenger group. Like this summer, we're doing Healthy Summer 2018,
yeah, that's fun,
where we share recipes and you know, it's and fun stuff. Just
You know, yesterday I went to the swimming pool and I did some HIIT, and I also moved some furniture, which boy, you lose calories when you do this. But then the group was sharing some. I was in the mountain, in the Sauerland mountain, hiking for 4 miles. You know what? I'm going to do it next time. So it's inspiring to hear from others.
It is, yeah. So between that and then the Facebook group, there's lots of ways to continue the support. And I keep my book in my kitchen with all my my recipe books. It's getting a little dog-eared. I just go through it and try and remember some things. Or
Yeah, and it's
if I
a
need a
working
refresher.
book. You can even write in this book.
Yeah, it's got plenty of workbook items and little exercises to do. And
yeah,
I'm
preparing a second book based on requests from clients that this is the teaching book with the experiments, but now I'm going to do a full experimental experiments book with, you know, levels of mastering.
I can't wait.
And fun things to do. Less fun, but also fun. So in a nutshell, Francesca, it's been very nice, wonderful to have you on the show. You are very inspiring. In fact, I always say my clients inspire me as well. Why would you recommend the CogniDiet to any other woman?
It is just, it's a very practical tool for a lifelong change. And the fact that you share a lot of how you came to do this and your own personal story, I felt like I had somebody who I could very much relate to, somebody who had gone through this, and all the tools that you've used, all the nutritional guidance that you've given are things that were laid out in a very practical way, not too clinical, but very, and not fatty, you know, very practical so that you could use it for a lifestyle. Yes. So I finally feel like I got the one tool that is going to last me the rest of my life. And I've told lots of people about this. I know a couple of people have said they're signing up, so hopefully they have. But it's just something that I really, truly believe in is the one tool that you need for the rest of your life.
Okay, thank you, Francesca. And you are the proof it's never too late to lose weight, right? Good. Thank you so much. So this is a wrap. And see you next time with more inspiring clients and other experts who have helped me create and put together the CogniDiet. So if you want more information, you can go to our website, and we have every possible social media service that you can imagine, from Instagram to Facebook to private Facebook pages to Pinterest, where I post my recipes. Welcome to the CogniDiet. See you soon.